Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I'm Andrew Scaff. He's Mike Werman. I'm a biochemist. He's a medieval historian. Mike, you ready to talk about our recap of the AFC and NFC championship games from last weekend?
Yes, I am, Andrew. I think we had a great weekend of watching, and also a pretty good weekend with our imaginary bets as well. It seems like maybe we should become full-time sharps, get the green visor, hang out in the sports book, take up smoking cigars, that sort of thing. Cigar smoking full-time. I know you enjoy.
Yeah, you can't see it, but right behind me is my humidor, so it's right there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but yes, we should be doing that. Yeah, how many weeks into this will it be before we have advisors instead of whatever hats and not hats we're wearing now?
I don't know. We'll see how fast Amazon delivers. We'll have them by the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Green visor.
I'm sure you could buy them in quantities too.
Yeah, probably. We're gonna get the green, right? That's the
yeah
classic.
We could have different. Yeah, whoever's like in the lead has a certain color hat or something too. That
it's like the Tour de France, yeah, right, with the yellow jersey.
Yeah, why not?
Well, yeah. So, speaking of green and yellow, the Packers hosted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game. We each bet on the spread on that one, which was Green Bay -3, and we also had the over/under ended up being 52.
51.5.
51.5
was the over/under. Yeah. Then we're 57 was the final. Yeah, so.
57 was the final. It was
well enough over.
31-26.
Yeah.
Even without the meaningless field goal at the end, kicked by Green Bay, meaningless in many ways. That it did not help them win, did not help the spread, did not help the over/under, and maybe it was meaningful in that it may have begun to kick Aaron Rodgers out of town. I don't know. I had one reason that I won on. This is my most successful of the bets, I think, at least of the game specific game bets. And I did think that Brady and Tampa had a chance to win. I didn't think that the coaching and the team in Green Bay was very good. I don't think Tampa's that great either, but we've been making fun of Green Bay and their front office and Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff for, well, at least since the Warning Track Power Hour has been.
The Warning Track Power Hour.
That's been the Warning Track Power. I was going to say on the air, but it's not technically on the air. It's only available on YouTube, I think, right now.
Basically, since we created the concept of this.
Yeah, and especially since that. Well, I thought the Matt LaFleur hiring was stupid. Although the Packers did have a 13-3 record, but that the last 2 years have a 13-3 record. But we've been making fun of that Jordan Love draft pick, where they traded up in the first round, so they spent 2 of their draft picks this year on Jordan Love, who is currently their third-string quarterback. So they thought he was the quarterback of the future when they had probably the likely MVP in Aaron Rodgers this season. But Rodgers played pretty well, but he couldn't overcome, I think, bad coaching and bad decision making.
Yeah.
However, the Green Bay also should have capitalized on 3 Tom Brady interceptions, 3 in a row, right, in the second half.
Yeah.
And also just bad play on the defensive end a couple of times. So yeah, it was
early anyway.
If I were you, Andrew, I would have been very frustrated losing that cover.
Yeah.
Especially when they should have gone for it on 4th down, and that would have at least given them a chance to go to overtime. At least
right. I was upset with them in the first half, like not showing any urgency, even just outside the 2-minute warning. It seemed like they had no intention of trying to do anything. Knowing they had the ball to start the second half, they seemed to just shut down at the end of the first half and not go for anything at the time.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Why have the ball?
To get frustrated. And that's coaching at that point too. And that probably was the biggest mistake that I made in picks and on the show last time, was a comment that you had made about how the management front office are terrible for Green Bay. And my comment was the front office and management isn't playing the game. And then they kind of did, actually. So
I think they kind of did, yeah. And that seemed to be Rodgers' kind of comments after the game. He was pretty, well, again, it's a raw from a loss, but also just, this idea of, well, was that your decision now? Rodgers probably should have run it on third down. He made that kind of crappy pass into traffic that was never going to be caught on third down. He probably could have gotten 4 or 5 yards and gotten it to the 3 or 4. Which
get caught from behind. If he made the fake throw and pulled down, he didn't. There was no one in front of him.
You guess
all.
He could have.
Behind though, but
he possibly could have made it into the end zone. I think you're right. At least he would have made a positive gain of some sort, and that would have, you think, led to a 4th down try rather than a field goal. But either way, they should have gone for it. Yeah, I think there were statistical models maybe that showed otherwise, but you still need a touchdown at some point. And if you miss it there, you have Tampa Bay pinned back, and probably Brady will be less likely to want to throw the ball that deep in his end zone, and you still have timeouts to work with. It's a pinning them at the 8 or the inside the 8 is, I think, worst case scenario there.
Right, because you still have a situation where you need a touchdown.
Yeah, it was just stupid all the way around.
It made no sense at all.
I guess I did somewhat factor in the dumbness on Green Bay's part. I didn't really assume that Brady would have thrown so many picks. I thought probably Green Bay would have tried to run the ball too much, and that would have maybe cost them, or they could have won very, very closely. I had the 3 on my side, so I thought Tampa had a chance to win it outright. But that's one of the things that oftentimes you hear bettors say, if you're going to bet on the underdog with the money line, you should feel that they have a chance on the spread, that they have a chance to win outright, especially if it's a small spread. So if you think, I don't think the Buccaneers had a chance to win, but I'm going to bet them -3 because I think they can keep it close, that's probably not as good a.
That's too small a margin, I would think. Like Chiefs Cleveland last week with the -10.
10 is big enough, I think you could say.
That was where I was confident the Chiefs would win, but I was not confident they'd cover 10-point spread. So
yeah, I think in the same. That's kind of why you did the Buffalo. You didn't think the Buffalo's going to win, but they might keep it close. But 3, that's a 3.5 maybe, but 3 is certainly.
Yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs don't seem like they want to play games like that close.
No, they cut it that close. Yeah, they don't even.
They don't mind playing a 7-point game, but they don't seem to want to get dragged into a 3-point game.
No, but they often do though when they play that kind of nonchalant, or it's like a 3-point game and then they have the ball at the end and they could have scored if they wanted to extend it. If they, like a Tampa Bay game, when they played at Tampa, they were up by 17 in the 4th quarter, and then Tampa got it within 3, and then the Chiefs had the ball, marched down the field, and then just kneeled in the. They could have scored more points that game. They would have.
Right. Well, I mean, that time the 3-point game doesn't matter because they have the ball and they control it.
Yeah, and most of those really close games, the Chiefs had the ball at the end. A couple of times against Carolina, against Atlanta, they needed some missed field goals. One of them was like a 69-yard field goal, so that wasn't as likely as the Atlanta one, which was only like a 40-yard field goal, right, or something that Koo missed. So anyway, back to
in this game though, even Packers 1st and goal, the 8. I still have a chance that I can win my bet though with the Packers -3, and get the touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, go to overtime, get touchdowns over.
Yeah. Touchdown in overtime.
Once they kick the field goal, then it didn't make any sense. There was nothing that could happen that's
No, because they even if they scored a
For me to
touchdown, they would
finish
have.
that bet off at least anyway, right?
I guess they could have scored a touchdown and then gone for 2 to win by 3, which would have given you a push.
Right. That was my best hope at that point, which is not likely though. So.
Yeah. Also, I think likely still, even if they had gotten touchdown 2-point conversion, a field goal to win it in overtime would have been likely
It's likely, yeah.
as well.
But there's still a chance that somebody
still a chance.
Scores a touchdown. But,
Yeah, and also, yeah, as we talked about, maybe there could have been a safety had they not gotten it and pushed.
Yeah.
They think, oh, we're not going to, why don't we do a running play and run it to the, get it really close, maybe first 1 or 2 yard line, and then, who knows what happens. But yeah, that was dumb. And Matt LaFleur is a bad coach. He got lucky having Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers plays right now in a division that's not very good, in a conference that's surprisingly weak.
Certainly winnable, especially with a quarterback of that caliber.
Yeah. And I guess so. I feel good. I felt good. I won that bet, and we got the over. I think we knew that it would probably be a shootout. I don't think Green Bay or Tampa Bay has a great defense. Tampa has a pretty good pass rush, but their secondary is pretty bad. And Green Bay
and Rodgers isn't like flighty or afraid of a pass rush generally, right? I mean, he's used to being chased all over the place by not having a very good offensive line at times.
But this year they did have a good one until Bakhtiari went out. But there's only one guy, but he's the best. He's their best player, their left tackle. So Tampa's line's not that great either, I don't think, but good enough, I guess, to hold up. And they have I think Tampa has an okay running game. Green Bay has a very good running game if they want to, but again, they sometimes waste Rodgers because they think, oh, we can run the ball and let's draft more running backs that we don't need and things like that. So those are like the only offensive players they drafted. They need a receiver. They need another receiver besides Devontae Adams that is good. Valdez-Scantley's okay, maybe.
Lazard's okay.
Maybe. Yeah, they're kind of, I don't know.
But historically, Rodgers has made sort of regular-ish receivers pretty good because he is good, right? So he doesn't necessarily need the best receivers. But
drafting a backup quarterback and another running back as your major draft picks this year
no sense.
Was dumb, especially when you think, oh, we were in the NFC Championship game last year. We made it again this year. We've made it like 4 out of the last 6 years to the NFC Championship game. Why don't we try to get us over the top? At least draft an impact defensive player or something like that if you can, or a good corner or a defensive end, something. If you aren't going to draft, if you aren't going to draft offensive weapons to help Rodgers or linemen even. It seems like running. It was just bad.
Right. So again, right. I thought I was making an amusing, snarky comment, and then it totally came back to bite me. Yes, that's exactly what happened. But I was very confident in the Packers too. I actually put 70 on the Packers, 30 on the over. You split yours 50-50.
50-50. I said I think I was a little more confident.
Both of them. So
I won both of them. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter. Yeah. So
you can split it however you want. If you win them both, you get the same total, right? So.
Why?
Yeah. Just get them all right. That's the way to go.
That's the way to go. We did not get them all right though. In the Chiefs Bills game, although I think we're both okay with that. Neither of us probably would have bet that game had we not had this little competition. But we both bet the same on this one, $50 on the Chiefs, who were -3, and 50 on the under. I think we thought that the game would be a little bit more low scoring. In some ways, I think that gimme touchdown that the Chiefs gave away to Buffalo encouraged the Chiefs to run it up more. And then at the end, when the Chiefs were so far ahead, they didn't care. And Buffalo scored
at the end, right?
another meaningless 9 or 10 points at the end to push it over. What was the over under? Was it 56.5?
The over under was 54.
54. I think it started up 56.5, but then it down to 54. And it ended up being 38-24, so that's 62. So it would have been over.
Yeah.
Anyway, But yeah, that was.
Well, I think we weren't necessarily confident that Mahomes was going to be 100%.
No, and he
We also
looked.
weren't confident that Mahomes would be fully mobile either, and like they may be a little more
Mhm.
reluctant to have him move around much, which could keep the passing game down a bit. And
He looked great.
I think we're both fine with this. Mahomes,
He looked
great.
fantastic. It was the best the Chiefs had played probably since that, at least maybe that first quarter against Tampa
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
for a full game.
First quarter against first half against New Orleans.
That or the game against Baltimore. One of those games
That was way back in
way back. But
yeah.
that's like against a good team, where they just felt like, oh, we can play for a little while and let's turn it on. We hope that's the team we want. We hope we'll play in the Super Bowl, and we'll turn, maybe not kind of coast at the end like they did. Although they really didn't, because they just they kind of muffed that that outside kick, and that gave Buffalo an extra possession. So the Chiefs would have had another possession, and it would have been lower. And I don't think that was really it was a good kick. They had two really good onside kicks. And it was the ball was crazy. And when Watts went up to get it, he got his legs taken out from it. That was one of the ones where you couldn't really blame him for it.
Right.
But Kemp made a good catch on the second one. But by that point, the game was out of reach, and Buffalo was just, I don't know, trying to inflate their egos. And that seems was a game that was that way for a lot of the Chiefs games, where the games weren't really that close. But
the gentlemanly Andy Reid, right?
yeah, this was the first Buffalo game's a little like that too. Yeah, but this game though, the Chiefs just outclassed them, and it's one of those things where maybe the Chiefs really are better by a lot than any other team in the NFL, and we hope that carries over to the Super Bowl. Any one game though can go either way. But yeah, the Chiefs covered 38-24. They won. The game was not even that close seeming. They had a 38-6 run in the middle of the game that really sealed it. Buffalo kind of settled for field goals when they shouldn't have, although it wouldn't have mattered, given the fact that the Chiefs, scored 5 straight touchdowns basically, and or scored 6 straight possessions or whatever it was in the middle of the game. So 5 touchdowns and a field goal. So yeah, and that seems like that's the team. And there's no, I don't know. There's no great team. You think that I don't think Tampa poses as much of a threat in the Super Bowl as San Francisco did last year. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it to me. But maybe also I'm just more confident because the Chiefs won last year. So
we don't have the weight of all of the negative playoff experiences from the entirety of our lives up until
I felt much more that
weight's gone.
That Browns game was much more nerve-wracking than this Chiefs game. Even though they were down 9-0, they were you knew likely they would, especially after that first touchdown, you knew they're fine. And by halftime it was essentially that's especially after they scored in the second half to open it. The second half was it was pretty comfortable. And even Josh Allen, some people were talking about him being as good or at the level this year of Patrick Mahomes, maybe even being second in the MVP voting ahead of Mahomes. Really, Mahomes is better than Rodgers too this year, but he didn't have as many touchdown passes as Rodgers this year. He had one more interception, I think, because he had that Miami game where he threw
3 games, right?
Yeah, and but he only lost one game, whereas Rodgers got blown out by Tampa. They lost a couple other games here and there, and the Bills lost to the Chiefs pretty easily. And so, but yeah, there's a narrative. There's a narrative saying, well, the Chiefs need to, aren't as good as they were last year. They aren't winning by enough. Mahomes isn't throwing enough touchdowns, and so it's one of those kind of narrative awards that it doesn't really matter. But Mahomes is like LeBron James, where he's the best player probably in the league, that he doesn't always win MVP right now.
Well, he doesn't have to win the scoring titles to be the best player either, right?
No, and that's one of the things. Of course, if Kelsey was a little bit like that too, he probably could have been the yardage leader this year had the starters played against the Chargers in the last game.
Right. Yeah, but there was no reason to risk anyone.
And they're resting, and it seemed like they're firing on all cylinders. They had that scare with Mahomes. He seemed fine. Limping maybe a little bit, but he always has that kind of little bit of a weird little walk that he does.
Also like an old man sort of shuffle.
Yeah, like his hip or something is
Well,
bothering.
Lorenzo Kane always did that too. For like when he would trot in from the outfield, like
Yeah,
he doesn't run like a young person.
no, that's true.
That's what it really. But it's like them trying to conserve energy. Maybe is that what it actually is? It's like a more of a shuffle than a
Could
run.
be, or just that they just have an awkward, little bit of a weird gait when they walk. I don't know. Pigeon, maybe they'll like pigeon toed or something, or there's something just a little bit off.
I mean, he doesn't run like that on the like in the game.
No,
It's just the when it
Mahomes runs pretty upright. He's got a little bit of a funny way he runs, but it's probably, I think it's someone that's wearing pads and things like that, and he's also looking to throw, and
yeah.
he's
But
not like a,
because when he scrambles though, he
yeah.
doesn't shuffle like that.
No, not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have like the natural run that like Josh Allen has, where Allen's like, his like the long loping kind of strides and things like that. I don't.
Very tall gazelle. Is that what you're going for?
I guess, yeah, stork maybe, ibis, water. I think he's more of a waterfowl kind of maybe run because he's on two legs, just sort of that long, like stilty kind of run. Yeah, like looking at the box score, it looks like Allen had a pretty good game. He just didn't complete a lot of passes, but 28 of 48.
48 is not that great though, yeah.
But the percentage wasn't so great, but he got almost 300 yards and like almost 100 yards rushing. So it looks like he had a really good game. But
Mahomes had one more completion with 10 fewer attempts.
Yeah, and also like 30 more yards. A lot of that came from on that little short pass to Tyreek Hill. That was the 71-yarder or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But then Hardman had that long run too.
Hardman, yeah. I think we both were a little bit surprised how much the Chiefs did not have to rely on their secondary players. Secondary meaning not primary targets. We thought the Buffalo would probably try to take Kelce or Hill, at least one of them, out of the game. They decided, well, we're going to let both of those players beat us, I guess.
Yeah.
Even every other,
a lot of catches early in that game too. 13 total in the game.
Yeah, and Hill dropped a long one at the beginning that would have been, that really is what set Kansas City back. They would have answered that field goal at least if Hill had caught that. So all day, yeah, they could have done that all day.
172 receiving yards for Hill.
Yeah, they've really worked a lot on that short passing game. It seems like.
Yeah.
The first time against Buffalo, they didn't really have that short passing game in as much, so they decided we're just going to run against Buffalo. We can do that too, but it's probably more fun to do the short passes.
Yeah,
and we did that this time, and so.
Well, 22 of the 29 catches were by Hill and Kelce.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Buffalo made no real effort to stop either of them. So it seemed like.
They don't have a great. Their defense was playing pretty well. I guess they can play pretty well against they played well against Baltimore, but Baltimore was very one-dimensional. And I think the Baltimore running offense is not as good as the Chiefs passing offense. If the Chiefs are, well, a lot of times the Chiefs are going to throw, and they still make first downs on 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10 because of Mahomes' improvisation and just the scheme and things like that. So yeah, the Chiefs. It seems like they've decided, well, we're going to play this game, at least most of it, and we can win when we feel like it, and that's what happened this time. And both of us, I think, predicted that. I think we didn't really exactly predict the over/under, right? But yeah, that's fine with us. I think we broke even on that game.
Well, yeah, we ended up breaking even on that one, and yeah, which I think is fine. I think we've both talked about not really wanting any part of betting on these Chiefs games. But as of right now, at least, yeah, I'm more than willing to bet on the next one.
Yeah, I would bet on the Chiefs.
The performance in this game.
Yes, and looking at the spread, it's the same as it was against the Bills right now. It's three Chiefs +3, or Chiefs are -3 in the Super Bowl. And you would think, I don't think Tampa's as good as Buffalo. At least I don't think Brady's as dangerous as Josh Allen. Brady has a few more weapons. But the Bills were playing, I think, at a higher level than Tampa. But it's at Tampa. The Chiefs already beaten. I don't know. I would say, yeah, I would definitely bet on the Chiefs if they win. Again, if you think they're going to win, +3 is not really an obstacle to that, or -3 is not really an obstacle to that. So.
Yeah, I think right now, having seen them play against Buffalo like that, I would take a much larger spread in that one too. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you like Tampa, probably
They finally look good. It seemed as though whatever rust they had is gone, and any waiting for the playoffs to get here to turn it on. Well, it's here now, so they're to be ready to go.
But you just hope the Chiefs next 2 weeks from now, they don't settle for field goals. They get the touchdowns like they did today. They play for 4 quarters, and yeah, you think, well, maybe that's what they'll do in the Super Bowl because that's the only game. That's the last game. They might as well leave everything on the field. So until next year. So we hope that's it. When teams get the Chiefs' best shot, you don't, such with how confident they are right now, and Mahomes. If Mahomes plays fairly well, because Mahomes didn't play that well in the Super Bowl overall, at least not, he threw a couple picks. If I don't see Tampa beating them unless Mahomes gets sacked, fumbles, throws picks.
Something crazy has to happen.
And then maybe also combined with field goals instead of touchdowns. There's got to be quite a bit of stuff that goes wrong for the Chiefs, I think, for them to lose this game. But that's still possible.
Yeah. And I'm sure that, we'll know a lot more by the time that we get around to making our picks on that game too.
We'll discuss that in the next Morning Trek Power Hour segment. Let's go to our other bets. Now, this is one where you feel much better about than I do. This was one I completely whiffed on, was the over/under passing yards for the quarterbacks in the NFC Championship game. They ended up being 279.5
for Rodgers.
For Rodgers, 289.5 for Brady.
Yep.
I bet on the under for Rodgers, the over for Brady. Neither one came through. Both of them.
That was the scenario where whatever your instincts are, do the other one. Right?
I should have, but they were both close. And you think, if Brady hadn't thrown all those picks, and Roger, it was close. But that's why they get to
the almost the very last play of the game where Brady sailed a pass that ended up being called for pass interference, but But I mean, it was down to that play where he still could have hit the over on.
Still could have.
He just needed one more.
And I thought Green Bay would run it more against Tampa, and I thought that would be their undoing. Would be the over reliance on the run rather than the bad coaching decisions with the field goal and stuff in the defense. So, and I didn't think Brady would be as inaccurate as he was, at least in the second half. So
especially in the second half, sailing
first half, So you bet over on both. Cashed on Rodgers though, because you bet more on Rodgers, right? You bet.
Yeah, I had a heavy split towards Rodgers. 75 on Rodgers, 25 on Brady on the over. Yeah, Brady, 9.5 yards shy of the over. But Rodgers was way over. 346 was his final for the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was way over. He had more passing yards than Mahomes did.
Only needed 280, right? So.
Yeah. So.
And at the half, it looked very good for both. They were both well over pace for hitting the overs, and then Brady threw all the interceptions though in the second half, so that really cut into his potential numbers anyway. But, and then Rodgers behind had to throw a lot and inflated his numbers quite a lot.
Other than that Fournette run, Tampa didn't really run it too much. That was a really great touchdown run he had, but other than that, he was pretty.
Oh yeah, fantastic run from Fournette.
One of the best you'd see. That kind of spin and then the jump, it was all.
He had like the footwork to get over a player that was laying down in front of him. Yeah, and then go from down the middle to get all the way to the outside. Yeah, spin and then plow through two guys at the goal line too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the. Yeah, it was a fantastic run in an otherwise pretty quiet rushing day for both teams. But
it didn't help that it wasn't Aaron Jones ended up getting hurt at some point in that game also.
Yeah, I guess that's why they had. I guess that's why Green Bay drafted that third running back that they really needed, because Jamal Williams was, again, when he was in, he, he's a fantasy beast when he started. It was like there was it was I don't understand. Again, I didn't understand that the Green Bay draft at all.
Yeah.
But again, that's probably what cost them again this year. Last year they just got thoroughly outclassed by San Francisco. Because San Francisco's defense was so much stronger.
Mhm.
Here they just, I think it's their own fault that they lost, and
They beat themselves really in a lot of ways.
and again Brady, I think I don't think he is fantastic as a player. He's very long lasting, but he's very opportunistic. It seems like he is in the right place at the right time, and he was in New England. He won, 3 Super Bowls when Bill Belichick had a great defense, and he just kind of went along for the ride. He then kind of won the sort of 3 from the offensive side
Yeah.
of things, although the Rams one was pretty lackluster. And then he latched onto a good team here in Tampa that, although you think we mentioned this off the air, that Jameis Winston also could have had that same stat line as Tom Brady this game: 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, quite a few yards. He probably would have had more yards.
Probably more.
He averaged more than 300 a game when he passed for 5,000. So, but yeah, Jameis probably not too happy in New Orleans right now. Although maybe next year he'll be happier if he ends up being a starter.
Or they let him go somewhere else to be a starter, right? One or the other. Yeah.
So many quarterbacks looking for new jobs and new places next year. That'll be crazy.
With Brady clearly winning the breakup with Belichick, though, right?
Well, we don't know how long Belichick's going to keep coaching. He will probably keep coaching longer than Brady will keep playing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only thing that matters is this season.
Oh yeah, they're
we're no longer together.
Yeah, success this year.
Immediately back to the Super Bowl. First season, right?
You kind of wonder. Brady's in the NFC. What would Brady have been like in the AFC? He left the AFC because
Smart is a much weaker division.
Yeah, it's a weaker conference right now, especially quarterback play.
Yeah.
So maybe that also is, if you win the NFC, you're more rested and refreshed, and you aren't as battle worn and weary. So you are going to play the Super Bowl better than the team that has to win the gauntlet of the AFC. Although the Chiefs,
with all the young quarterbacks that are seeming to be ready to dominate for a long period of time.
Yeah. So we also made a bet that turned out, one of the bets that turned out well for us was the team that was going to score the fewest points in the championship games. We had those bets on we could wager on the 4 teams, lowest point total and also highest point total. I think you thought Green Bay was going to be the highest scorer. You bet 50 on Green Bay as the highest of the 4 teams scoring. I also thought that game was going to be a shootout. I didn't know who was going to win, so I decided to hedge it, and I picked Tampa or Green Bay, and that looked pretty good. Since Tampa scored 31 points, I thought that's got a possibility. I also thought the Chiefs game was going to be lower scoring, and that's why I think you did too. And I think that's why we decided we thought Buffalo was going to be the lowest scoring team. And that turned out to be right, although it was a little bit scary at the end when Buffalo was starting to rack up points that didn't matter.
Right.
But
they could have passed that up.
They had 24, so they were the lowest. So we won 50. We bet 50. I think it was plus 210.
Plus 210, yeah.
So it was plus 105 for us. So that was a good bet we each made.
Yep. And
we both lost the other 50 on the highest. So
right. So we were confident that the other game was going to be a shootout. Green Bay, Tampa would be so those scores were going to be relatively high, and then we thought the Chiefs were going to win, so that left Buffalo as the odd man out, basically, to be the lowest scoring. And it turned out to be exactly what happened.
Yeah, we should. I think I would. Yeah, we should just bet all of it on the lowest. But
I thought about doing that, but I didn't like. We have 8 options to only pick one.
You you want to scatter, and so we ended up winning on that bet. So, but we as hedging sometimes is a good thing. We also ended up scattering our prop bets on the touchdown bets, which worked out very well for us in the Chiefs Bills game, even though it turned out
together, right?
once we
not relative to each other though.
Our consensus picks were wise. Our other ones, but I think each of us thought that that Kelce and Hill would not be having the ball as much. I think they said you said Mahomes completed 29 passes, 22 of those were to Hill or Kelce.
Right.
So only 7 receptions among the rest of the team. Darrell Williams got quite a few carries.
One of those other receptions was a touchdown pass to Mecole Hardman. So, and I know I was wondering if Hardman was going to be involved in the gameplay after muffing that punt on the very first time he touched the ball.
Yeah, I thought that too, but then I thought, oh, maybe they're going to try to get him back in the game, and that might be good for him.
And they did almost immediately. And
yeah, he got that touchdown pass, and then he also got another touchdown when he had the huge run. So he was pretty quiet most of the game. They didn't need him. They didn't. Sammy Watkins didn't play. Pringle was. I thought Pringle might have an outside shot to get a touchdown plus 800. He didn't. He got a couple.
He did 3 catches.
Three catches.
Yeah. They were around him a few times. Yeah.
DeMarcus Robinson really didn't see any action. Maybe 1 catch or none. I don't know if Robinson
got a
ball.
Yeah.
You like Anthony Sherman as a possibility. There was an underhand.
Was he on the field at all in the game? I didn't notice him playing.
He probably was in short yardage, and maybe special teams. But you thought maybe the underhand toss.
They ran his play.
Ran his place,
but it was to Kelce.
Sausage. It was smoked Kelce, I guess. And
that was my last chance to close the gap against you in this betting competition was to have that big spread pay off.
Yeah, but you ended up we each got Darrell Williams was plus 200, so we got plus 50 on that because we bet $25. We bet 25 on Hardman, which ended up being a plus 75 for us. So we got $100 on that bet, plus 75 plus 1. We were plus 170. We were 175 on our 100 on the touchdown bets.
We turned $100 into 175.
And we both ended up making money on our $500. You ended up with $640, and I was $630. So we ended up. You made 140. I made 130. We also both made money last time. Again, we would have, had we made these real bets, we would have lost a bit of money, $100 on each day on the juice, on the vig. But we still would have been in
on each, right?
Yeah, 50. Yeah, 50 on each day. Yeah,
if it's 10%. Yeah.
Yeah, 50. 100 total. 100 total. Although maybe some of the spread stuff was a little bit. If it was a 3 on the Buffalo, that might have been a little different. But on average, I think. But yeah, so right now, I am at $1,290, and you were at $1,240 with our $1,000 originally. So we're plus 290, plus 240. That's pretty good. Very good investments over 2 weeks. Better than
consistent too. We're both up over $100 or $100 or more in each of the days that we've done this competition, and
I think we're just outstanding gamblers, Andrew.
So does that mean it's time to get riskier then with our bets?
I think no, because I think I would say our system is working, so we should continue with the system that works rather than risk it. I don't know.
So maybe based on the bets that we have made, are there certain types of bets that you would now back off of or push towards because of what we've done and had either success or not success in so far?
I feel like if I would say bet on the Chiefs to going forward, because I think if we think they're going to win, and we do, bet more on them than on the over/under, which I think is more uncertain in the Super Bowl.
Especially if the spread's close.
Especially if the spread is close. It seems like I've liked a couple of the spreads, like a couple of the over. Like we like the over when the NFC is playing, like when you're playing in Green Bay, it seems like both of those games turned out over for us, and we've been right on both of those. So that's a good bet. I think our nose for the props when it comes to touchdowns scored was pretty good, although that's pretty
You
random.
are 5 for 6 on over-unders.
I'm 5 for 6 on over-unders. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm 3 for 6 on over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 50-50. I've done pretty well on the over-under.
5 for 6 is not bad at all. So yeah,
Yeah,
if I'm watching you pick,
I should do more over-unders
then I should just see what you do and then copy your bet.
and copy that because oh, it's a small sample size.
50%.
Yeah, so I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, I liked. Yeah,
So I'm 4 for 6 on spreads.
I think I was not. I think I've been less afraid to pick unders, and that's probably what our difference.
And you've gotten you missed the first 3 spreads, and then now I've gotten the last 3 spreads.
Oh, okay. So I'm
you're roaring back to 50% on spreads.
Okay.
But one option that we've seen, the hedging of bets has not gone well.
Not as well. The passing yardage was not good for me, but that was one bet we made, or I guess it was 2 related bets. That was probably one I would steer clear from if I did that. Although
sample size is pretty small for that.
Sample size is small. Maybe the lesson. Yeah, I don't know if there's a lesson there. I think
maybe not yet.
I think we were wise in thinking that the Bills would be the lowest scoring. We both also kind of had the idea that the game would be a shootout. I guess both games were technically shootouts since both teams, the winning team scored over 30 and the losing team scored in the mid-20s. But the Tampa Green Bay game was much more competitive, even though there was a large lead at one point. But yeah, it's those garbage time points though are kind of scary, and you think, is that gonna bite the Chiefs? Is that gonna make an under like a certain under turn into an over, something like that? Those, I think that's always something that you worry about. Although being an under better, if you're an under better, it's always under until it's over. So maybe you like that. Yeah. Do you have any bets that you think you're going to look harder at?
Well, so I think maybe as the like early look preview into next time, we've only got one game that we can choose from. So I think we're going to end up breaking slightly from what we've done as our tradition over this 2 weeks. And we'll have a lot of prop bets, I think, next time. So
I think so too. I'd like to, some lottery tickets. I don't know if you want to bet the coin toss or not. If you had to bet the coin toss, would you go heads tails, or would you go Chiefs Buccaneers? Which of those would you, if you had to bet one of them, which would you be more comfortable with that the bet?
For some reason, it does seem like the Chiefs do tend to win coin tosses, though. I don't know. Look, they had that one streak a couple years ago where they won like 10 in a row. Seems like Andy Reid apparently knows how to win. Yeah. So who's the road team for this game technically?
The Chiefs are the road team.
So they get to choose.
Yeah. I feel like I would be more comfortable heads or tails, because I think who would win, that brings in 4 possibilities. You could think, I would overthink it and think, is it going to be Tampa head?
Is the bet just going to be heads or tails, or who wins, or is it like who receives first?
It's heads or tails, or who wins the toss. And so if you want to do who wins the toss, if you think, heads or tails, you kind of think, well, what do you think the Chiefs are going to call? And then do you think that's going to be right or not? So I think that adds that, at least it doesn't really, but you don't have to think about that. But to me, it adds an extra layer of thought that I don't want to have in a 50-50, because I feel like there are 3 options that are probably wrong and one that's right. I feel like there's only a 25% chance for me, rather than like, heads or tails. I like tails. I don't have to think about what is going to be. or something like
Yeah.
that. I'm not going to bet the coin toss though.
Yeah.
I don't think. Although it's
You should practice a lot at home.
the official Super Bowl coin, having it
Preparation.
float up and fall onto some natural grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of that around here. It's snowing here right now in
Oh, is it?
Western Maryland. Yeah, it's been, yeah. We have
Well,
winter storm.
that doesn't simulate game conditions though. I mean, that's being played in Tampa.
Maybe for an maybe for an NFC or AFC championship game, it would be okay, but not for a Super Bowl. Although they did have the Super Bowl at some cold weather sites, but I don't think they're going to do that too much without an actual dome.
Probably not. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah,
So-
well, I think we may end up like doubling the bet totals that we make for the game.
Yeah, we might do that Super Bowl, make it do 1,000 or
Yeah,
something. And
Then more props though, probably, right? So
more props, or just see what we think. You know, we can next week. I'll over the next few days, I'll look for some interesting props online. You'll probably do the same, and you know, it seems like those touchdown bets that we made this week, the odds are much lower. The returns are much lower for us this week because of the good games that the Chiefs had scoring touchdowns. McCole Hardman's odds, you know, he's not plus 300 anymore. He's like plus 230 or something. And Darrell Williams though is still plus 200, but like Tyreek Hill was minus 120, now he's minus 162. Kelsey was minus 125 and he's minus 162 or something too now. So those are the seems like the books maybe are also expecting more people to bet, so they're probably not going to, and they probably get more amateur bettors, so they probably don't really care about getting it exactly right. They probably want to gouge you a little bit on those prop bets.
well, you know, they may go back up over
Yeah, they could change. Yeah, depending on how much money
they see on any of those, right?
they see on those, and yeah, how much.
I did think that was fun. That was one of the more fun picks that we made, was that set of possibilities. You know, trying to go through the list and say like, well, this guy was hurt, so maybe we don't want to pick him. And you know, there was more strategy to choosing from that larger group of people than it is just saying like, well, this team is going to win. Like, well, there's only two options, right?
Yeah, and we liked that better also than like the first touchdown scored, because that's again,
I can play yards at home.
That's gambling. Yeah, it's gambling for gambling's sake. With that, like it's just a roulette toss, and it seems like there's nothing predictable really about the order of the scoring. I think, oh yeah, maybe Tyreek Hill will get the first touchdown or Kelsey or something, but I think your odds, I don't know. It doesn't seem like your odds are that.
But anybody can,
score that first one.
Right, it could be anything. Yeah,
it's like Hardman would have been the first one, and for the Chiefs, or actually would have been, who was the tight Knox for Buffalo would have been the winner.
Yeah,
on that, and nobody, that would just waste all that money.
That kind of that doesn't really. But I do like maybe like receiving yards or passing yards for Mahomes.
That could be a good one, or
those kinds of things. I think are probably more likely what we're going to end up with.
Yeah,
we may break from this tradition as well, and maybe like we can pick our own prop bets that we decide to choose, and we don't necessarily both have to bet on the same props.
Yeah, I think
we may see more variation, because I know this week a lot of the more non-traditional bets that we had, the ones that paid off are ones that we both had made, and I don't know. I'd like to see there be more competition between us, so that we can't have as much overlap and having the same picks.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Or we don't have to have the same picks. We could, but only if we're trying to make.
I have a feeling we'll have the same pick on the spread, possibly over under. Since we're both going to be betting on those, and I think we're both going to bet the Chiefs. I don't think there's a reason. Unless maybe the Chiefs.
The over-under can be different, but I think we'll both, especially if the odds are close.
Unless somehow the Chiefs got the up to like +8 or something, and then you say, oh, maybe it won't be that.
Yeah.
You think Tampa could cover, but or the over/under gets sky high. We might, depending on or going crazy one way or very low somehow.
And I think the early line on the game was it 56 for the over/under?
56.5 right now I see on William Hill. So And as I said, it's -3 for the Chiefs. Chiefs money line -170, Bucks money line +150. It's one of those things where if you like the underdog, I think you should bet the money line rather than because the 3 points isn't a whole lot, and you'll get more, So, but I don't like the Bucks in this game, or I'm not going to bet the Bucks in this game. Although, and it's not like you could hedge maybe and think, oh, I think the Chiefs could, maybe I'll do half Chiefs cover, half
Money line the other way.
money line the other way and make it back or something. That is some and be almost even or way up one way or the other.
Yeah, those are straddles, I think is what they refer to in like options trading.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think they're called straddles.
Straddles.
Yeah.
I'm probably
because you sort of can take both sides of a position, and then as one goes whichever way, you can sell the other one, and then ride this one as long as you can, and then sell it. But yeah, that's a different kind of betting.
Different kind of betting, and we might talk about that in the future. But I think we've pretty well covered our last our last week's bets, and we see again we are making money this way. If we had money, we would be making money. It's imaginary, but if I think we're both, this could come crashing down next week, and
well, the way we set it up, we can't lose anything. So
yeah, we're not really losing. Well,
I mean, we're not even really losing because it's always new money too, right?
That's true.
We're just not making as much or any new fake money, right?
Yeah.
Our bank can only go. It can't go down. Because we're not spending from our fake bank either.
No, we aren't.
At this point, maybe we will eventually, but
maybe next NFL season.
Yeah.
Or this baseball season, if you want to be crazy and bet baseball now. That seems NFL seems like one of the few sports where you can have a good, I think, advantage if you are really sharp. Football seems to be one where each game is slightly more predictable than baseball. Or
maybe we have a little more control over what we think is going to happen in an individual game.
Yeah.
Baseball, most anything can happen.
Baseball, I think season-long stats are probably good. Over/unders on certain totals and things like that. But that ties your money up for a long time. And
we don't have time for that with our fake money.
No, we don't. We need a rapid rate of investment. We need to pay off our. We need to
our fake money.
We need to pay our bookies or whatever, whoever we need our drugs now. And we can't have our money tied up in things like that. So until next week, though, Andrew, I will remain Mike Werman. You will remain Andrew Scaff. We remain the Morning Trek Power Hour. Please like and subscribe out to our little YouTube channel here, and you'll get all sorts of fun tidbits between now and the Super Bowl. We'll have at least one more Power Hour to air prior to Super Bowl 55, LV 55, yes. Until then, I'll see you at the sports book, Dr. Scaff.
See you there.
Give him my green visor.
The fake sports book.
Yes.